Hey there, SKs, and welcome to your math lesson of the day. All right, we're going to dive right in because we have a big job set up for us today. So far, you have learned to measure things by trusting your eyes and your brain to tell you which thing is longer or shorter. You've also measured things by using non-standard units of measurement, like popcorn or cereal or pasta noodles. And now it is finally time for you to take out your rulers and measure things for real. Now, before we start our lesson, I'm going to be showing you different parts of a ruler so you can understand how it works and showing you a few examples. Now, you're going to notice that most rulers have two sides. I wonder if I can get something white in back so you can see it even better. There we go. That's better. Now, most rulers have two sides. They have a side that has numbers with big spaces in between, numbers here that are far apart, and on the other side, numbers that are really close together. Now, we're going to be looking today at the side of the ruler where the numbers are still pretty far apart. So not on the bottom there where they're all squished, but on the top when you have a nice amount of space between each number. This space is called an inch. You might even be able to see it there. Do you see that? Inch, inch. If you don't have a ruler at home, you could still kind of tell what an inch looks like by taking out your thumb, boing, and measuring things with the top part of your thumb. So the top part of your thumb starts here and goes to this line right there. This area is about an inch. But if you have a ruler, that is what will get you the closest, most accurate measurement. So going back to my ruler, we see that the ruler has an initial starting point line, and then from there, it jumps right to 1. So this would be 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. My ruler goes all the way up to 16 inches. Your ruler might be a little bit smaller or maybe even a little bit bigger. Remember, for now, I want you to completely ignore the bottom. Okay, so don't look at the bottom numbers. You're just looking at the top numbers, which is inches for today. Now, going back to what I mentioned over here, you'll notice that this line here is like the 0 starting point. So when you measure things, it's really important that you don't put your ruler up to something and start measuring at the end of the ruler, because that's not the true starting point. The real starting point is the 0 line, which is right here. On some rulers, the 0 line is actually right at the edge, but on most rulers, there's a tiny little space and the 0 line starts a little bit later. So remember, when you're measuring something and you want to put it side to side and end to end, even though it looks like the end is here, the true end of a ruler is right at the 0 line. Now, side to side and end to end is extremely important for measuring things to make sure you're getting accurate results. So when I say to measure something side to side, it should look like this. Check this out. On my whiteboard, I've drawn a line, and my goal is to measure how long this line is in inches. So to start off, I would find the inches side of my ruler, the side that has bigger spaces, and I want to start off by putting it side to side. So why don't you say stop when you think I'm side to side? Am I side to my line here? No. Here? No. Here? No. What about here? Yes, exactly. I am side to my ruler here, and I can tell because I have an equal amount of space. So I have the side to side part. Now I need to make sure I'm end to end. But remember, like I said before, end to end doesn't mean starting at the end of my ruler. It means starting right at the 0 line. So I'm going to make sure I'm right at the 0 line. Can you see that little area here? It doesn't matter if it's going off a little bit, as long as my line is at the 0 line. All right, so now I can look down at my ruler without moving it and see how long my line is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My line stopped right there at 7. So this line would be 7 inches long. 7 inches long. Now, I'm going to take you to our lesson where I have a picture of a ruler and we could look at it in a bit closer detail. For today, I know that some of you have access to printers and some of you don't. That's totally fine either way. What I've done is I've created 2 lessons, so you need to make sure you open the right one for you. When you get to this page, you'll click on SK Math, and you'll notice that for today, there are 2 lesson options. The first one, if you hover over it, says SK Math April 8th, version 1 for printer. So if you have a printer and you're going to be printing out the lesson, this is the one you want to use. If you don't have a printer at home today, or you are a bit behind in printing things and it just won't be possible for you to print things today, that's also not a problem. Go ahead and open SK Math April 8th version without printer, version 2 without printer. There it is. Okay? So I'm going to start off by opening this version, version 1, and this is what it should look like. Okay. So here on our very first page, as I promised, we have a picture of a real ruler. Now, as I told you, on a ruler, there are 2 things you can measure. The big side with big spaces, that's the size of the tip of your thumb. Those are inches. And on the other side, the tiny little ones, those are centimeters. But we're not looking at centimeters today. We're looking at inches. Now, let's take a closer look at where the inches begin. Aha! Do you see that 0 right here? That is the real start line for the inches. So even though the ruler goes till here, you wouldn't want to start measuring an item from here. You would want to measure it right from the 0 line. Then from there, you can count onwards. So let's just say I was measuring a line from here. My line is a little bit wobbly. You would want to have yours much straighter than Miss I's so that it was really side to side. But let's just pretend this line was straighter. So you have to make sure, is it side to side? Yes. And is it end to end? Yep, I have it starting right at 0. Now you can count to see how long it is. This is 1 inch, 2 inch, and this is 3 inches. So this line is exactly 3 inches long. What if I wanted to measure a line and I positioned my line like this? Can I start? Can I start measuring like this? No. Something's fishy about this. What is wrong with the way that I set up my ruler next to this line? Can you think about it? Remember your trick. Side to side, end to end. My arms are exactly the same equal distance apart, and my elbows are the ends starting at the same point. Side to side, end to end. What's wrong with the way I set this up? Exactly. I didn't set up my line at the actual end of the ruler. I set it up to the physical end, but I didn't set it up where I should have, which is at the 0 mark. That's where the true measurement of inches begins. You want to make sure that from where you start to here, the 1 mark, it's exactly 1 inch. And if you start lower than that mark at the edge of the ruler, it's going to be 1 inch and a little bit. And you want to make sure you're not measuring 1 inch and a little bit. You want to measure in exact inches. So to redo this problem, what I would have to do is I would have to move that stick, start it at the 0 line, and then go up. There you go. It helps me sometimes to draw a line across so I can see exactly where it stops on the ruler. So I can see this line stops at 2, which means it is 2 inches. Okay, let's see what we have to do for our problem today. Activity number 2 says use a ruler to measure the following items in inches. So if you opened this file, it means you've printed out this document and you have the physical copy of this paper in front of you. You would have to take your ruler, make sure that the 0 line goes to the edge of this flag. So make sure the 0 line is here. And with your ruler, you would find out how long this flag is. And you would put your answer right here. It's similar to the rest of the questions on the next 2 pages. It's going to be asking you to measure the items on the page with your rulers. And when you're done that, there's a little bit of math review. So we have addition, subtraction here, a bit of ordering, sequencing, decomposing numbers, ordinal positioning, and subtraction review. Okay, but the main focus I really want to make sure you get through today is cracking out those rulers and actually measuring the pictures on your page. Okay, kindergarten, are you ready to start measuring in inches? On your marks, get set, go! Happy measuring. See you later.